interns, Yesenia and Nevaeh Sturdivant. They have worked with Richmond County Schools for the last 2 months with their internship with Golden Leaf Scholarship. And we're glad that they chose Richmond County Schools. They've been able to work in the schools, and Yesenia has been able to work here with the communications person. Yesenia is at UNC Charlotte, and she's from Rockingham. And Nevaeh is going to NC State, and she's from Anson County. So at this time, they're going to present to you what they wish school would have taught them before college.
Yes, as you said, we're going to give you a little bit of a student perspective. So let's get started. See if my people work. Alrighty, I'm Nevaeh. A little bit about me: I am from Anson County. I graduated from Anson County Early College with my 2 associate degrees in science and arts. And then I went to NC State, and I've been there for 1 year so far. Going to be an upcoming senior. I have a major in rhetoric and professional writing with a creative writing minor in a poetry track. And when I first got there, I found my community immediately within a newspaper. So I worked in a newspaper called The Nubian Message, which is a newspaper for Black and marginalized students. And this was founded based off a little bit of racism and lack of representation that was happening on campus, because there was another newspaper called Technician, and it is still here, and they were publishing racist comments. And so the Nubian Message was something that came about to kind of give minorities a voice at NC State. And over the year I worked as a writer, and then I became editor-in-chief of the newspaper towards the end of the year, and that's what I'm doing now. And I also worked at the academic support program for student athletes, and I work as a tutor there as a writing assistant, and I help athletes write essays. Yeah.
Yes, so as Ms. Tina mentioned, I am Yesenia Garcia. I am born and raised here in Rockingham, North Carolina. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school here. I did graduate from the early college. For those of you who may not know exactly what that program is, you basically graduate with a high school diploma as well as an associate's degree. So I graduated with my associates in arts and my high school diploma as well, and now I am a student or rising senior. This will be my 3rd year at UNC Charlotte. I am double majoring in marketing analytics and Spanish, pursuing a Spanish translation certification. So I'm a little bit of a business person. You may see some business of me coming out throughout the presentation, so little heads up on that part. And something that is very near and dear to my heart, one of my passions, is advocacy. I did advocacy work here in Richmond County, specifically for the Latino community, and I'm continuing that passion now on at UNC Charlotte through my involvements. This past year, I served as president for the Latinx Student Union, which is the largest Latin organization on campus. We have over 500 active members, so it is a very, very huge org. Every time the university wants to create solutions or has an issue or wants to be aware of different problems that are affecting our community, they tend to look towards our organization for those answers. I also recently became a sister of Corazones Unidos Siempre, Chi Epsilon Sigma National Latin Sorority Incorporated, a very, very long name, which education is one of our pillars that we hold very near and dear to our hearts. And I didn't add this on here, but I also do work on campus. I work in the financial literacy department, so we help students create budgets if they want to open up credit cards, credit management, want to learn a little bit about investing. We help those students in that sense as well. But we want to thank you for, being here today with us, listening. I know you probably have to, but either way, we promise to make this presentation as engaging as possible because, it's been a long day. So, yeah.
I'm going to start us off so far. I want to talk a little bit about critical thinking and instructing students how to think critically. And it always starts with the teacher, especially when it comes to punishment or talking to a student. A lot of times we tend to react emotionally. We are humans and we have human emotions. So student's being loud. He's causing trouble in the class. And you're probably like, stop. You want to yell at him, send him out of class. But it's important to look at that student and see, why are they acting that way? What is their home situation like? So when we are responding to those situations, it's important to use critical thinking. Because at the end of the day, before you make a judgment, there's multiple faces to that coin. And this coin doesn't just have two, it has like 10. So the next thing I want to talk about was social media. Talk to students about their person. A lot of people, they're going to come in contact with a lot of people when they get out of high school, and they're going to look at them and they're going to judge them. So tell students everything that they do has an impact. Anytime they come in contact with a person, they're going to be searching for something in them that isn't right, and that's just how it is. So teach students to have a outgoing kind of person that they're trying to be. So when they're on social media, tell them to keep in mind everything that they do on social media is out there. As someone who worked a little bit in college admissions, if someone is on the fence about whether they want you at your college or not, they are going to look at your social media. A job will look at your social media. So tell students what you do on social media matters. Those small interactions that you have with people that you never think you will see again, those matter. So inform students on how to critically think about their actions. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was self-advocacy. Self-advocacy isn't something that's usually taught in schools because a lot of times we have people thinking for us. We have teachers telling us what to do, we have counselors guiding us on what classes to take, but when we get out in the real world, those people aren't there for us, and then it becomes our job to advocate for ourselves. So I have a definition of advocacy on the board, and so self-advocacy means knowing what you need, believing you deserve it, and communicating that clearly. So we have a lot of things that we need, obviously, and you have to communicate that. So teachers, students say, hey, do they need a pencil? It can be as simple as that. Ask me for a pencil. It starts simple in the classroom so they can go out in the real world and be that person. And this is equality work almost, because having a person who can advocate for themselves levels the playing field when they get out in the real world. Everybody won't be offered the same opportunities naturally, so they have to ask for it, they have to push for it, and they won't get those answers the first time they reach out for it. So make them and show them that if they push for it, they will get it. A closed mouth does not get fed. And I have an article linked right here on the left, and it was made by my current photo editor, Caleb Williams, about being Black in PWI. And I think that is a great article example of why self-advocacy is so important, and there's a QR code right there to get it. And like I said before, normalize it in the classroom, create low-risk opportunities to practice self-advocacy, anonymous feedback, extensions, and reward questions. So give students the opportunity to judge you, and I know you're getting judged all the time. I know you're like, Nevaeh, please, we don't need to be judged. But ask students, what more do you need from me? That's advocacy work. They're telling you what they need. So keep doing that. Give students that opportunity. And in order to get self-advocacy, you need to have good communication. This kind of gets overlooked. When they send emails, they won't have subject lines. They'll just be like, teacher, I need whatever. So teach your students to have a subject line in their emails. Force them to do this because they will need to do this in the real world. Teach them how to publicly speak. Allow students to have classroom debates. Teach them how to professionally communicate, professionally disagree. That is such a good thing to learn how to know how to do, because you will have to disagree with a lot of people to advocate for yourself. And knowing how to do that in a way that doesn't offend a lot of people is such a good skill. So teach them how to do that. Networking and relationships, make them collaborate with their peers. They're gonna have to collaborate with people in the outside world. They're gonna have projects with random people in college. And so learning how to communicate effectively is gonna be very important. So think about your assignments and think about how can I make them communicate and learn how to use proper communication. And the last thing for me is college is not the only option. I know now in the workforce, a lot of people who go into trade schools are a lot more, they get jobs more quickly when they come out of their trade school than someone who went to college, because those are jobs that can't be taken by AI, and AI is becoming bigger. So if someone doesn't really want to go to college, don't force them, show them other options. I know a lot of my peers went to college because someone told them to, and they're not there anymore now. They're doing what they want to. So there are entrepreneurship opportunities. Find a passion in a student and tell them to hold on to it. Tell them to go out and make money off of their passion, because that's going to make them love what they do. Okay?
Yes, so my section will be more focused on power. So I want to open it up to you all. What does empowerment mean to you? If I could just get a couple of responses out here. Yes.
Self-determination.
Ooh, that's good. Okay, anyone else?
Perseverance.
Okay, perseverance. Anyone over here? Go ahead, Miss Girl.
You see what does power mean to me?
Empowerment.
Empowerment. I think confidence. Being
Confidence.
confident.
That's really good, yeah. So you all gave really great examples, and you know, when I was looking into exactly what to talk about or what to present about, empowerment just kind of came to mind. But believe it or not, when I researched, well, what exactly does empowerment mean? Believe it or not, there's not one definite or straight line answer. There's multiple. It was giving, the confidence to someone else to complete an action or a task, or giving that confidence to oneself to be able to succeed in life. Now, I found two patterns. One of them is autonomy, giving that power to someone else or to oneself. But it's more than just that action. It's a feeling. Now, you may be wondering, well, why are we talking about feelings, right? Well, you all will have students, all walks of life, who don't go home to homes where they're empowered, right? So it's very important to create those empowerments, those environments within your classroom from a very young age. I can tell you from my experience, I went to school, I did not know English at all. Spanish is my first language, so I learned English in school. And it was very hard to feel empowered in school because all of my classmates were ahead, they knew English, and I was not quite there yet. I remember I would talk to a lot of my classmates in Spanish because I just did not know how to communicate, right? And it's important to plant that seed of empowerment because students love to feel seen, heard, and capable. And you all don't necessarily have to, give them a sticker every time they get a 100. It can simply start by saying, "You did a great job. That was brave of you today. Thank you for helping." Go ahead and creating these environments through affirming language is very important. Another one is creating opportunities or these leadership opportunities for students in your classroom to rise up, and take action. However, don't give these opportunities just to students who are the most loudest or who are the most confident, right? Because I know whenever I was going through school, I definitely felt like the underdog. Again, that language barrier was something holding me back. I didn't have the network that a lot of my classmates did. My classmates would be like, yeah, my mom works at central office. Yeah, my mom is a teacher. My dad owns this business. I didn't have that network. So it's very important to be able to have these opportunities for these students to rise up. You never know. Creating these empowerments, planting that little seed could even help that quiet student find their voice through art, storytelling, whatever it may be. And another thing I want to, get y'all thinking about is also celebrate effort, not just achievement. I'm going to get into the next slide about a really cool topic, but celebrating the effort that students are making to actively participate in your classrooms. Even if it's the wrong answer, even if it's not the answer you were looking for, they're trying. Say, you did a great job.
Like she was talking about participation, a lot of students in your class will participate because they feel there is no need. So if we get immediate gratifications for completed assignments or completed tasks, they will be more likely to participate.
And before we move on to the next slide, this is the business side coming out of me. I've recently been listening to podcasts on how big businesses started. So, Figma, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Tatcha, the skincare brand, a lot of big businesses. And something that I find very interesting in our pattern is that all these big CEOs all started from scratch. Some of them were literally broke and had to sleep on floors, and their sweatshirt was their pillow. And so I want you to keep that in mind, because Howard Schultz says success is empty if you arrive at the finish line alone. The best reward is to get there surrounded by winners. He's the CEO of Starbucks. And I wanted to say that because students can't get anywhere without you all. You all, again, are planting that seed. And that is something very important to keep in mind. So, I want you to grab an index card in the middle of your tables, and I want you to write, what is one kind thing that someone has said or done for you that made you feel powerful or capable? But don't show anyone, okay? Like, guard it, like kids be doing, just guard it, and don't show anyone. Yup.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. So if on the index card you could write, what is one kind thing someone has said or done for you that made you feel powerful or capable? I'll give everyone 2 minutes, so you can think. Once you are done, if you could fold the paper. And again, don't show anyone. Yeah, I know it's a very deep question. Alright, and once you're done, if you could give me a quick thumbs up, so I know. Yep. Perfect. Give 1 more minute.
I can talk a little bit while we're waiting. I know one thing that made me feel powerful, especially in elementary school, because, little child brain, I like having a purpose in the classroom. I like being given little jobs to do when I came in the classroom. So taking up name tags or giving out name tags, those made me feel like I was important when I was in the classroom. And it can give those kids that may be a little bit of a troublemaker something to do and a purpose.
Alright, is everyone done? Maybe question mark? Give 10 more seconds. Oh, by the way, do not write your name on it. I don't know if I said that, but just don't write your name on it. Don't show anyone. Alright. So now what I want you to do is I want you to take that index card that's folded up and hand it to someone who's not at your table. Okay, I'll give 2 minutes. I promise y'all, we're gonna mix it up. So
Yep. That made it easy.
give it to someone who's not at your table, but do not open it up. Do not open it up. Okay. Alright. Was everyone able to switch? I'll give it up. It's okay. No, yeah, it's a really deep question. I had to think about it too, because
That goes to show not many people do it often. These happen.
yes, switch with anyone who's not at your table. Perfect. All right. Now that everyone has switched, switch with people at your table. Okay? We're mixing it up. We're mixing it up. All right, everyone has a paper? All right. Now, I want you to open it up. Don't show anyone again. Open it up. What's the next slide point, please? Okay. How do we feel once you read it? If I can get one person from every table to share. We can start here.
Okay, wait 1 second.
You're good, you're good, you're good.
Okay. Well, this one is more so about how professor helped a student of theirs feel, confident in something that they did and help them with opportunities. And it makes me hopeful for being a teacher. It gives me, it just makes me feel like I can inspire kids the same way that this professor did.
Anyone right here?
Mine's a quote, but I felt like I could relate to it because a lot of people sometimes don't have the confidence to, when they see other people see what they've done. It gives them that much confidence.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone over here?
You want me to read this?
It's up to you, but how did it make you feel?
It made me feel like I was manifesting a great destiny. It made me feel like I was president.
Alright, anyone back there?
I feel like when you read like how other people have felt empowered before, it like reminds you of how like, hey, that might have happened to me too. Like you feel empowered in a lot of different ways, but you might not always notice it.
Yep, that's right.
Seeing it from somebody else is kind of cool.
Another perspective, right? Anyone over here?
Well, this person coaches volleyball, and they said one of the parents told them that they liked that they coached with love and empathy. So just being there for the students and showing, hey, I'm not here just to teach you, but I'm here to help you grow into a better person, both like academically and emotionally.
For sure. I think that's very, very important. Anyone over here?
The importance of when you don't believe in yourself to find somebody who can. And just that it's really nice to if you can't remind yourself, then you need to find somebody that can help you remember.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone back here? Back over there, in that corner.
My card says, being told I'm proud of you. I think everyone in here will agree. Just hearing anyone of any kind say, I'm proud of you, is just super empowering, and it lets you know that you're on the right track.
Yes, for sure. Over here.
It's all about, I think this person would feel appreciated, says she's had a great job raising her daughter. I think this person would feel appreciated, just like what any of us would, feel being told that thing. We would feel appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. So in general, at first I could tell it was a pretty hard and deep question. Like even when I was writing it, I couldn't come up with an answer right on the spot. So definitely kudos to y'all and for sharing too. I know that is a very vulnerable question, but it just allows you to stop and think and reflect at times, and I think that is very, very important. So we did this activity because I want to introduce maybe. Question mark? We'll go to the next slide. The empowerment cycle. So again, we're going to talk about this in the classroom perspective. So the empowerment starts with you all in this room, right? I did a little mirror on here. I don't know if you could tell it's a mirror, but I was like, mirror, like y'all. Yeah, I don't know if we get that, but it's you all plant that seed of empowerment by modeling vulnerability, confidence, and trust. I remember I was talking to a teacher, and she once mentioned me that she was pursuing her master's degree, right? And she was teaching in elementary school, and she would actually show her students her grades in her master's program. And she at times maybe did not get the best grade, but she would show her students, and her students would be like, but miss, you're a teacher, like how can you get this wrong? How can you get a B, right? But it's that behavior that allows your students to feel that confidence, that trust in you. You're being vulnerable with them. It allows for them to also be vulnerable with you. And I think that is also very, very important. I know growing up, I really appreciated when teachers would ask me, Yesenia, how are you doing? Did you understand this? And just a little question off to the side. I think those are very important check-ins because you never know what a student is going through. You never know if they ate. You never know if they went to an abusive home. And your classroom is that safe space for them. So by modeling these certain traits, students begin to internalize that power, right? They're like, oh my goodness, like, you know, they feel happy. Just like you all mentioned, you love when people say, you know, I mean, I do too. Whenever you did a good job, I am proud of you, right? Students feel that empowerment, and guess what? They're gonna go and spread that empowerment to other students by helping them with their homework, standing up for them if they're getting bullied on the playground. They're able to go ahead and start creating that community, which is your classroom. And it all started with you all planting that little seed. And I think that is very powerful. Now, I did want to mention, you all kind of touched on this. Teachers, I admire y'all so much, because not only are you all teachers, sometimes you all have to be therapists, guidance counselors, parents, mentors, and it's a lot. That's not in the job description, I can tell y'all that. And I admire y'all so much. So I want this to also be your reminder to ensure that you are all empowering yourself. I know one thing that I did, I think I was being a part of an organization, was I wrote down why I'm even joining this organization. Why? When I had that spirit, that fire, that flame, when I'm in a good mood. Because whenever I was going through a bad day or a hard day, you know, people would say, remember your why. Well, right now I'm really mad. I really don't remember it. Pull out that letter to remember your why. Read it a couple of times. Having something physical to pull you away from your emotions is very helpful. Like Nevaeh touched on, reacting on emotion. It maybe may not be the best idea. Think logically. Pull out that letter. Think of your why. Remind yourself. Empower yourself. Whether that's a vacation to the Bahamas, okay? Whether it's going to the beach, going outside for just a quick fresh of air. Whatever it may be. Relying on your support team. You have all of the HR, Miss Tina here. Have that support.
The communication with your classroom is extremely important, because it's that vulnerability again. Let's say your classroom didn't do as well as on a test as you would like. Communicating with them and saying, you know, I felt like I gave my all, but what did I miss? What did you not understand? Having that feedback and that communication with your classroom that you might not have because of that emotion allows you to self-regulate and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, test yourself and look at yourself with a transparent view. Like, you're not perfect, and here's where I can improve. Because a lot of the time we get in ourselves and we're like, I did good. Like, so we have to look at ourselves sometimes and see, where can I improve?
Yeah. And so the next topic that I'm going to talk about is the power in the wrong answer. I know that's kind of contradict a little bit, but I don't know if anyone wants to raise their hand if they have a little bit of like PTSD from their teacher using that red pen when they're grading papers, because I know I do, and even in college, like, I still fear that red pen. And there's actual research and studies that says when teachers, professors, anyone who's grading papers uses a red pen, they tend to find more mistakes. And obviously that red ink is pretty bold, so I can see that red, all those red marks all the way from over here. So definitely something to keep in mind, that there is power in the wrong answer. Now you may be thinking, well, Yesenia, why exactly are you talking about this? Because at times, whenever we say that's the wrong answer, you're wrong, why is this wrong? Revealing those wrong answers allows an opportunity for you all to see where a student may need more help in, how to even help that student. But don't diminish their answer just because it's the wrong answer. I know at times we've all had experience where we've said the wrong answer, whether that is in school, in our careers, or we made a wrong decision, right? And sometimes go ahead and say like that is the wrong answer. It has a pretty bad connotation and it kind of bleeds throughout their life. I can share an experience of mine when I first started my first year at college. Obviously I graduated with a 2-year degree, so I didn't have that transition class. I was already in classes where I was in the junior levels. I was surrounded by students who had done internships with Big 4 companies. I'm talking Bank of America, EY. They have such an immense amount of knowledge. And oftentimes, those students didn't have the same background as me, didn't understand certain struggles, and oftentimes there wasn't many women in those classrooms, let alone any women of color. So it was definitely really hard for me to even raise my hand to respond to a question that my professor asked. Because, again, that wrong answer I didn't want to seem dumb. I didn't want to seem dumb against my other classmates who know so much. So definitely creating these environments at a very young age where the wrong answers are welcomed. Wrong ideas are welcome. I want to share a quote by Amanda Mosher who says, "There are no wrong answers, only different perspectives." However, with that being said, some perspectives are certainly better than others. I think there's a little bit of ethics in here too. But I want you all to reframe the wrong answer. Instead, saying it an oops, or that was brilliant, but reframing it. It allows for students to feel that empowerment again, to feel like I can raise my hand, and even if it's the wrong answer, not the answer I was looking for, I'm confident enough to raise my hand. And that's being brave, saying thank you for being brave.
Yeah, going back to that wrong answer question, I still have professors that give out candy when you raise your hand. So there are problems with getting people to talk in classrooms, and that definitely derives from the grade school experience. So encouraging people to raise their hand and participate, whether they have an answer or not. You having the wrong answer may help someone else have the right answer. A lot of the times we learn from someone else's wrong. Or oops.
Oops, there you go, exactly. And I just want you all to also remember that sometimes whenever we don't empower them in the wrong answer, I know I definitely felt this where I was like, oh my goodness, my classmate was born smart, like, hello, where's mine? So while that's not certainly the case, it's something that students at a very young age can already start begin thinking. Or they just simply don't even feel comfortable raising their hand. They stay silent out of fear, just like I did. And like I'm trying to break out of it, but I still do, even in the classroom today.
Alright, we're going to open the floor to you. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Our college experience, our grade school experience?
Feedback, advice, anything.
I do. Going back to the wrong answer, I'm at Mineral Springs in Ellery and teacher assistant for about 9 years. And one of my duties was to check the spelling test on Friday. Well, I already knew, don't mess with the red pen because of my experiences in school.
Yes.
So I kind of really stay away from that so that they won't have the same traumatic experience that I did.
Oh yeah, and I actually found it really cool that there's actual research to back that up, that there's more of an emotion connection to that red pen than there is to a pen where that's green, that's black, that's blue, so definitely stay away from that red pen.
Even like telling students that a bad grade doesn't mean the world is ending is so important. Going to an early college, everything was so competitive. Every grade was a competition, and as soon as our papers got handed out, everybody knew everybody's grade. Okay, everything was competition. We were feisty. So telling students to let go of the fact that it's a bad grade, tell them to look at it as improvement. I know Miss Tina, what did you say that one day about looking at a bad grade differently? Do you remember?
Are you talking about the failure option? I feel that's what you're talking about. Well, what we were discussing was the fact that with my students, I'm that vulnerable person. I shared, it's okay. I shared my class grades. I was at UNCP, and I was studying for my master's degree, and I would show, it's okay. I would show my students my grades. I would show them my papers. I would show them the markups from the teachers. And these were fourth grade students. And the reason why I would show it to them is to, for one, to get their perspective. And then for two, I want to let them know I'm a student as well. Because they look at teachers and they look at you as God's gift. You can't make a mistake to a child unless you hurt their feelings. And then that's the mistake. But I would show them my papers, and I'm telling you, it's funny. They were like, a B? How you make a B? I thought you could put sentences together. Why is that teacher saying this and that? And I'm like, well, I guess I didn't do well enough, did I? And I would let them know that means I got to do better. I would let them know as a teacher, no, I'm not this just straight genius. No, everything is not going to be A+ for me, but I have growing to do as well. And I have growing to do in the field of what I'm learning. And so after that, every week almost the children would say, well, what grade you made? Well, what? So I started, like I said, I started putting it up. And boy, when I would put up some of my grades and when I would put up the papers, they were just confused with how. And I would tell them, that's the reason why, like, when I'm giving you work, when I'm giving you your papers, and I want you to correct, professors do the same thing. It doesn't stop here. So I was just letting them know it didn't stop in 4th grade. It keeps going. And like I told you all earlier, failure, people say failure is not an option, but it is if you want to grow. And if you want to stop growing, then you let failure beat you up. So
Yeah, there's actually a line of a poem that says success is failure turned inside out, and I definitely think like that's super duper important. If y'all are ever like feeling down, I recommend you all to look up the Don't Quit poem. It's very, very powerful. So, you know, just have a little frame or something like that.
And can I add one more thing? Where I was telling Nevaeh, the one thing about it though, I was being pessimistic that semester, which was interesting. But my children are the one in that classroom who said, you're gonna leave us. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna leave you. But they looked at my grades. They looked at the point that I was going to get something that I really wanted. And they were right. And Ms. Stroman here, she can tell you, that semester in December, I was teaching at Monroe Avenue. And they told me, you're getting ready to leave. You're getting ready to be promoted. And I was promoted as an academic coach. So the students knew. They seen the success where I didn't see it. So that's another thing of what you said earlier of someone telling you something good, someone telling you that you're capable. My students gave me that lift.
That empowerment.
That
There you
empowerment.
go.
There you go.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Comments? Feedback? Okay. Who? Yeah. Wait. Oh, yes.
Okay, you look.
Huh?
Did you bring him to school now?
No.
You look there. I swear. I mean,
Thank you all so much for being super attentive to us. Definitely, if you're interested in staying connected, let us know. But we wish you all the best in your successes. Today is my last day here at Richmond County Schools. I go back to Charlotte tomorrow, so wanted to wish y'all a good first year or returning teachers. You all got this. Remember to feel empowered yourself, because in order to empower others, you have to empower yourself first. Thank you.